All right. Hello, Aquarius. How's everybody doing today? Hopefully your day is getting off to a great start. Thank you for giving me a couple minutes to get set up. Let me get everything in focus here. Good to see you. My name is Nicholas Ashbaugh. This is my little furry assistant here at Apollo. We're going to help you navigate the next 6 to 8 weeks, focusing on opportunities, focusing on empowerment, because that's really how I work on this channel. I believe that the whole reason that we show up each and every time is so that we can make some good decisions and we know what's in front of us. So with that being said, welcome. It's good to see you. Here is the format for today. I always like to begin with some channeled messages coming straight from source, and then we'll get into the cards. I let the card portion take whatever form it needs to, and then I always expand to take a look at health, wealth, love, and destiny after that. A couple of other notes here. If you stick around after that, we'll kind of dig around and look at different areas of what's going on. So like a big idea, something that you can focus on to be successful. There'll be some chance to vote on some of the topics that we're looking at today, anything that looks like it might deserve a little bit more of investigation. And then I've started to do something new towards the latter part of the reading, which is sun, rising, and moon, specific messages for those different aspects of your chart. Of course, you can always watch this for anything that you happen to know about your chart, whether you want to look at sun, rising, moon, Venus, or any other placement, it's fine. But I've taken some time to kind of look at some of those special portions. Before we get into the reading itself, just a quick note, if you want to chat during the live reading, you'll have to be a subscriber, so you can do that by clicking subscribe. Even if you're not watching it live, please subscribe because it's free and it will let you know when I post new videos. The bell icon will actually make sure that every notification gets sent through if you'd like that. You can also join me on social media. I tend to use the story feature to remind folks of what's coming through. I also do single card reads, kind of when I feel like it, on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Also Twitter. I'll put it on all the other networks, so check them out if you haven't. And if you want to show some love in real time, you can do it with a super sticker, super chat, or on replay, you can use the thanks button. Okay, if you ever want to see my website for schedule information, here's the link. You can also click on the link in the chat that I already put out there. All right, let's get into your channeled messages for today, for this month ahead. Today, there was one image that just kind of kept coming into my mind, and it was that of a lily. And I did a little research to find out what the really large ones are. I have some pictures here in my presentation. So there's this giant water lily in particular that was popping into my head, and I'm going to show you what it looks like. So just one totem today. It's this one. If you do a Google image search for it, you'll see these really big pads, and they actually have like a little shelf on them. And what I like about it, by the way, the name of this one is called the, I guess, Victoria Amazonica. It is really, really big. It basically, those leaves can span up to 3 meters or 10 feet wide, so larger than a human, basically in width or in diameter. And they also go pretty deep as well, 7 to 8 meters, 23 to 26 feet. So one of the reasons I love this sort of energy as your totem is that it shows expansion, but there's a big journey that you have to take sometimes to get to the top of the water. And if you ever look at some of those images, I can't show big versions of them for licensing reasons, but do yourself a favor, do a Google image search for giant water lily or Victoria Amazonica. You'll be able to find this, but they kind of branch out from the center and then have these big pads. And I thought of anything that would kind of show like networking to that degree, it would be the 10 of Pentacles in tarot. So whenever I look at a totem, I'm able to kind of like discern how it will connect with you for the month ahead. So networking, connections, and leaning on sort of the people that are already around you, because for many of you, especially if you show up here, you tend to do a good job of helping others. This is a time to tap into that network. If you don't have the network because you've been busy, because you've taken some time away from any of these groups, this is a time to go back in and re-engage. And remember, just like it takes those lilies time to not only put up the pads, but also the blossom, it would probably take some time to reconnect. If a connection's been lost or you haven't put energy into a friendship, for instance, or an old work alliance or something like that. So take some time this month to do that. It will pay off in the long run. It's also a lot more fun to have those connections and that additional sort of insight in your life. friends, family, and community may also play a larger role than they normally did. And again, if you can find a way to enjoy or have a kind of give and take with that, I think that's going to be really important. Expanding your reach is kind of cool too, because if we look at the networking energy, and I had time to do a few more slides, one other one that I would put is like Six of Swords or the World card, because both of those are showing your potential to reach beyond your borders. Something I talk about a lot here on this channel. So sometimes we get very comfortable in our own family, our own house, even just our own niche, whatever we're doing for a job or whatever. And this is saying that's all good and fine, and that's showing that you've mastered one thing. So you've reached like the Three of Pentacles moment there. But now it's time to take it to the next level. So I have 2 slides here, and I wanted to talk about the process here, and I'm just going to highlight it. You don't have to read all the bullets, but basically this is going to lead up to the important message here, which is necessary pause. So all of what I'm talking about is going to be the Hanged Man, but let me just highlight the unique sort of reproductive system that is a part of this plant. So they have beautiful lilies, fragrant. They start off with the color white, and then they change to pink, I believe. The scent and the color are to attract beetles. Much like a carnivorous plant, the beetle gets trapped, but not permanently. It's sort of just a mechanism to hold it there until it does its job, and then it can move on to the next flower. So what happens is once a beetle or a few beetles are attracted to that flower, it closes at night, and then it stays closed for a day. But there's food inside there for the beetle, and the beetle's happy, and it basically munches away at different parts of the flower, which then actually help fertilize the flower, and then it gets covered also in pollen. And much like a bee, once it's released from the flower, it repeats this cycle and it cross-pollinates, which helps create a stronger sort of seed in the future. So there's this cool symbiotic relationship, again, taking us back to the networking and why it's going to be important to have some of these friends, alliances, or people in your life, because in the next portion, when you're going to grow and expand and do new things, you may need some of these partnerships. Someone may be able to help you in a way that you couldn't do it yourself, or there's a complementary skill. And all of this is telling us sometimes when we feel like, why can't I get X, Y, or Z? Why isn't this happening? Why can't the next thing happen? Maybe because there's something right here and right now, and you're supposed to, just like the beetle, absorb, digest, and understand it before you move on. The flower will open up again. You're already in a flower that symbolizes the crown chakra. So basically this month you may have a few of these closing and opening moments. When it closes, remember, this isn't a full stop. Another energy of this, again, if I had a little more time to put into several more slides, I would say like the Eight of Cups, because this is starts and stops. This, though, is the one I highlighted because you're supposed to stop for a second and say, do I want to keep doing this, or what do I really want? Am I in or am I out? So I'll still stand by the one that I selected here, the Hanged Man, and that's really the universal question that's being posed to you. Are you in? Are you out? What do you want? And have you gotten everything you need to out of this moment? Hanged Man can be your friend because it is about learning and then eventually graduating. It isn't always fun to be stuck when you're in the Hanged Man, but it's usually there to stop you, to pause you and say, wait, before you get to that, there's an option here. There's something here. A lot of sister cards with this, including even Four of Cups. Are you missing something? Or are you missing that you've already achieved what you needed to and the grass isn't greener there? So just pause a little bit and ask yourself those questions. What do I want? Have I gotten everything I needed to out of this moment in time? And am I being fully present? And if once you kind of acknowledge all of these and answer all of these, you're going to be into a much better place in your heart and in your head. Keep on reaching. All right. So again, anytime I see the lily, whether it's in the cards or it comes in my mind as it did this morning, it really is a reminder to not give up. And there's a couple cards in tarot that connect to that energy. For whatever reason, I had two. I was like, is it going to be the 7 or is it going to be the 9 of Wands? I chose the 7 of Wands, but I mentioned the 9 of Wands. It kind of depends where you're at on your journey. I feel like if you were a little further along, I wouldn't have even gotten the lily, but some of you may be further along. So the 9 of Wands, of course, is just saying the end is in sight. Don't get sloppy. Don't get impatient. Make every moment the same quality and the same sort of yeah, just basically have the same energy of enthusiasm through that last leg of the race. Don't let your body get in the way or your head get in the way. The Seven of Wands, for many of us, because we're watching in advance, maybe just by a week or so of this, when this reading takes place. So some of you may have to push through things and think about working a little bit smarter, saying no, and also just sort of holding your boundaries, because that's one thing that's unique to the Seven of Wands, is just saying no and continuing to sort of say no, or not yet, or I asked for this, where is this? Be a little bit pushy if you need to, okay? Everything that we're looking at here, again, is about crown expansion, but with this ebb and flow that we're looking at, for some of you, there is even an internal question. A lot of times when I'm reading, I'll see additional cards. So the other one that's coming into my head is like the Five of Pentacles. So I already have you as Empress, kind of like as I'm looking at all this energy. This, though, as we're talking, as I'm doing it live, I think what the block could be for some of you is the Five of Pentacles, which is self-confidence. So the other thing that I was thinking of when I wrote this slide is, are you like busy and bored, or just bored, or disinterested in anything in your life? If you're doing something but you feel this disconnection, and not in a sort of cool manifestation sort of way, but like, I don't care about it, that's actually a clear indication that you may have learned everything that you needed to. And it's time. It's time to sort of like let it go, to move on, and to trust that there's going to be more, that the universe isn't going to be stingy. Four and Five of Pentacles have these sort of messages. Four of Pentacles is, I'm holding on because I'm afraid. Is this all that there is? Five of Pentacles is, I'm achieving this, but do I deserve it? Because I've been told that I'm not enough. Am I enough? And so overcoming these will let you put that crown on your head and become the queen or the king, which we're going to talk about right now. So everybody that's watching this, everybody is connected to divine energy. It's so interesting that over the past, several hundred years or 1,000 years, there's been a lot of institutions put into place, a lot of checks and balances. Whenever I look at the Hierophant card, actually, one of the interesting things sometimes is that it is an illusion that you have to work with this sort of gatekeeper or locksmith that is the only one that holds the key, when in fact you are the one that holds the key. So I think we're coming to a point, hopefully, in modern times, where we realize all we have to do is close our eyes. All we have to do is set an intention. And the belief, the work that we do, reconnects us to our divine path. I think back in Egypt and back in earlier times, we were more open to, we believed a little bit more in the magic. And the magic is still attainable. It's still there. I don't know why I can't find this card, so I'm not going to worry about it. But when you look at the Hierophant, you'll see that there are two keys at the base of the Hierophant, and there's a couple of disciples. And I talked about this, it might have been in the weekend reading or in the one right here it is. Okay, so I can multitask here. So we have even the red color of this slide here. So you see those two keys at the bottom, two people looking to him. Please tell us the way. Let us understand. And meanwhile, they actually have the keys right there. So one thing that I always find kind of interesting in this is you have more power than you think. And all you have to do, as that last slide said, is to kind of own the power and really embrace your connection to divinity, your connection to something bigger than you. Okay? So let's vote on a few cards and get started here. I always like to give you a chance, if you've set the alarm and you got up early, or at the end of your day, if you're making some time as you're watching dinner, to just reward you for being present. So because we're talking about divinity, Tarot of the Divine is one that's coming to mind. So let me just change the location of the camera so you can see what I'm looking at. And we'll get started here. Oh, let me turn the camera on above me too. So I'm going to pick a few decks here. You can throw out a couple of suggestions if you'd like, and if I see it in time, we'll think about that. So one of them is Tarot of the Divine. I love the colors of this card, and I think it's just beautiful. Let's see, Aphrodite, because I haven't used it in ages. Let's see here. I know that a lot of you like let's see, I have like a Fountain Tarot, which is kind of nice and beautiful. So let me see if I can find that one while we're doing this. And see what else comes through, if I can find it. It might be too far down. So how's everybody doing today, by the way? I hope your day has gotten off to a good start. And I'm looking forward to seeing what's coming through in the reading today. So let's see. I can't find the fountain one, so I'm going to put the field up instead. It's very close. And let's see. Try to pull one that we haven't used in a while. Oh, here it is. Switching this out because that's the one that I was thinking of. Okay, here we go. So let me go ahead and put the poll together and we'll go from there. So we have Tarot of the Divine, we have Afro Goddess, we have Fountain, and then we have, I could do Wild Wood instead of Wild Unknown, actually. I'm just leaving it because we got it on the table here, so Wild Unknown. Okay, there we go. So let's take a look at these and see which one you're connecting with today. Okay, so first up we have Tarot of the Divine. Beautiful colors. We were talking about divinity, so this one popped into my mind. I don't think I've used this all month for a monthly reading. So this is the Afro Goddess. All of you are familiar with it. Beautiful colors, beautiful imagery. This one is abstract and very cool, actually. This is the Fountain Tarot, and very sort of like whimsical, like airy images, as you can tell. So it's got a cool energy, and I was called to that. And then I've been putting this one back into rotation. This is Wild Unknown. As you can see, lots of nature pictures in this one as well. So you've got a lot of choices and they're wildly different. So let's see which one is in the lead. It looks like we have Afro Goddess by about 38%. Surprises, surprise, surprise. That one hasn't won in a while. So, and now we have Tarot of the Divine and 31%. So I'm gonna give you one last chance to vote. We only have 49 votes, so we've got a decent amount of people here, 244. A couple more can click, perhaps. And now I'm going to end the poll, and whatever you've chosen will win here. If we have two that are just very close, then I'll mix and match. So we do. Fountain Tarot won, and Tarot of the Divine came in second. So I'm going to mix and match today, and both of these choices will get a chance to have a little bit of a spotlight. So again, Fountain is going to be the main one, and then I will use this for expanded portions. Since we pull a decent amount of cards, it's almost even, actually. All right, so let's get into the Celtic Cross now and take a look at the energies for the next 6 to 8 weeks. We're currently in May, but we'll be looking at June. Okay, so let's get started, everyone. Good choices. I actually like it when there's a tie. And I should just mention that on an ongoing basis because I think more people would vote and we would get to see some different cards. This is a really, really cool deck that I don't know why I'd kind of not put it in rotation as much. It can be a little bit harder to see in camera, but I pull every card close up, so don't worry about it. It's actually one of the things that I like about it is it forces you to kind of connect with your intuition, and it's not so busy. It's just these sort of like airy, ethereal images. And I like the astral theme, which is one thing that you wouldn't expect. There's like a lot of beautiful starry images here too. All right. Got two. Interesting. All right, let me get everything set up here. And we shall begin. All right, let's zoom out a little bit because we've got a lot of cards on the table so we can see all of these. All right, we're going to begin with your catalyst here. We have the lovely Lord Ganesha here with divine support. Interesting because, and the big Om symbol right on top there. But it's interesting because I was talking about your connection to the divine. One thing that we want to keep in mind when it comes, and by the way, this is the remover of obstacles, this particular deity. So if you need some help, you can meditate on Lord Ganesha. But what I would like to say is that when it comes to navigating to the next thing in our life, archangels, a lot of our guides and ascended masters, they want to let us kind of like figure things out as much as we can. So if you're at a point where you really do want and need some help, all you have to do is ask. If you're a little bit more pragmatic, a little more practical, and you're thinking, all right, but like, how does this also connect to everyday life? The same thing is true when it comes to like being at a negotiation table for a salary, trying to look at like something that you're trying to buy and even maybe get a better deal for that. Like sometimes you just have to ask for more or for less, and even push back and just say like, I can't. We were talking about the Seven of Wands. Sometimes saying this isn't reasonable, but this is. If you can counter with something that's reasonable or like highlight what you think isn't working with something, everyday people are going to be a lot more receptive as well. So be realistic in what it is that you need and then make a request. Put in that request and know that your prayer has been heard, or in everyday life that your request has been heard, and then hold for a second because the Hanged Man was a piece of what was coming through as well. So you're in this interesting sort of phase where you might be internally sort of triggered to say like, I need to reach in this direction, I need to do this, but there has to then be an action that happens from that. So ask or state intent so that the universe can then react and then can also deliver. And that's what we're getting with that message there. Okay. Going back to the center, we have the Six of Wands, which ultimately is a card of success, but it's reversed. So let's talk about it. This is a really interesting Six of Wands. Look at how they're bending over backwards. It reminds me of that Olympic sport. Is it javelin? No, that's when they're throwing it over. There's one where they hop over. You'll type it out. But it kind of reminds me of that. But it does look like they're throwing that too. Anyway, what I would say with this is, don't feel like you always have to bend over backwards for other people or to change yourself, because the Six of Wands in reverse oftentimes is accommodating or being accommodating to a fault. And when you're in a corporation, when you're sometimes in a sophomore part of your career, let's say you hit it big with something, a product, an idea, an album, you maybe your first big break, you did something great, and people want you to just keep capturing lightning in a bottle, the same lightning in a bottle. When the fact is you have to see yourself more as Zeus. You don't catch the lightning, you create it, and you have to put it, it's going to hit in a different direction. It has to be something different. So what we sometimes try to do is squeeze ourselves into a mold that we've already broken through, and that won't work. So be yourself. Know that you have the capacity to succeed again, that success could take many forms. It could be bigger than, it could be a little more muted this time around, but no matter what it is, there's going to be success to be had, and you should enjoy it, and you should be authentic in what it is that you're creating that's going to bring about the success. Because I can guarantee that if you try to only meet expectations, you've already limited what you could possibly do. So if you think all I can do is this because this is all that people want, then you're never going to know what else might be out there. So be bold, try something different, and don't change your view, let go of your vision, or definitely don't do something that morally feels wrong just because it's what is expected by the masses, okay? So this is really important for you to kind of like, there it is, pole vault. Thank you, guys. This is where I love to have a live feed here as well. So pole vault. But when I'm looking at it, what I was really seeing was someone contorting and bending and doing all of this stuff to to like sort of like please the masses. So I think it was a cool image because I definitely got that feeling of bending over backwards to achieve and sometimes to please. If you're worried about succeeding, don't. You have the capacity to do just fine. But I think the important thing is to keep your vision, keep your voice, and try not to contort yourself so much or to take the idea or the vision so much that you miss the mark. And that can happen as well. Okay? All right, so we have the Queen of Swords crossing this, one of my favorite court cards, because she has the capacity to communicate with skill, to use a fancy word, with aplomb. She basically can say the exact right thing at the exact right time, and particularly when she's crossing a card of success like this. So remember that the important thing for you, it is in your voice, and it's in how you convey what's coming through. So some of you were looking at this, it kind of reminds me of Dune, if you've watched either the original or the remake that just came out this year. They have that sort of shield that's around them. One little piece that I remember from that is it's kind of like the slow and steady blade goes through. So if we're talking about communication, keep your cool, keep your calm, slow and steady, and I would say persistent too. Persistence has a way of getting into someone's head. If you say it enough and you say it repeatedly, they're going to remember it. So that's actually why popular music tends to have, the chorus and verses. There's a lot of repetition sometimes because it's easy for people to remember because you've heard it once or twice and then it's in your head like an earworm and you can't stop saying it. So get a message that is concise, that is memorable, and repeat it, not to the point of being obnoxious, but do repeat and do be consistent with that. And that's what I'm kind of getting from this illustration of the Queen of Swords. And don't hide behind things. I really wish I could see her a little bit more. So don't hide behind other people. Don't hide behind your words. Come out front and, like basically in the you have to lead the crowd here because the Six of Wands is a leader card and we see a sort of obscured Queen of Swords here. So she's basically telling you this is your time to step into the spotlight. That's what I was trying to articulate. So step into the spotlight. Don't be afraid of being perfect. It actually isn't about perfect delivery. It's about connecting to something that is sort of like in the moment, authentic. It's the zeitgeist or whatever that's called, where you're got kind of like, this is something that everybody wants and feels and thinks, but you're the one, you're the channel, you're the person that says it. So perfection can be overrated. Timing is going to be more important here. So when the time is right to speak or to act, do it. The hanged man that you're in right now is hopefully setting you up for that synchronicity. But then sometimes you just think, wait, is it really happening? Pinch yourself. Yes, it is really happening. And yes, it will be time for you to do something. Let's talk about what's coming through in your recent past here. Or your deep past, rather. We have the Two of Swords. The Two of Swords is a very interesting card because oftentimes it can feel very dramatic. Like, oh my gosh, how am I going to handle this? What am I going to do? The truth of the matter is the Two of Swords is a shade of gray, basically. So you may have more than one option in front of you, but you just sort of feel like, gosh, there was something wrong with this. There was something wrong with this. This is really compelling. This is really compelling. But it's sort of like everything has a plus and a minus. So what you're going to have to do is close your eyes. Actually, it's not accidental that there's a blindfold, and just listen here. What feels right? And I always like to remind people that you can course correct as needed with the Two of Swords. Now, if there are no good options at the table, you can also just say no. But there is sort of a need or desire here to say yes or no, commit to something, or just say we need to go back to the drawing board. This isn't good enough. So that's fine too. You can just scrap something and say there isn't a good option, or you can look at something where there's shades of gray and say I have to go in this direction because of timing, because of resources, because we already scratched. So we'll go in this path and we'll correct as needed. Okay? That there's ambiguity, and it feels like you want to serve up some better options, but there may not be better options on the table. So based on your time, based on your money, based on your desire, on like how much work do I want to put into this, you have to make a decision and move. A better sort of metaphor that's also coming to mind is, because I live in a city with lots of traffic sometimes, you'll have to make a choice when you're driving, like, this isn't going to work. It's backed up. All right, I know I can go here and I can go here. Well, you can't always get out the GPS and everything. Sometimes you just have to, this is your GPS, and then you go there, and then you pick another side street. I had someone that I was driving maybe last year, and they said, were you born here? But I said, no, I've just been here for like 20 plus years in Southern Cal, but like 22 years in California. So it feels like home, and you just kind of learn to trust muscle memory and intuition. So in real life, if you've been doing something long enough, let's say a job, or you've been in a relationship long enough, you'll be able to just sort of feel it out and say, let's just go there. Let's do this. We'll do it on the fly. So either move on the fly or stop, reset, and say, this isn't good enough. And that's basically what you're going to have to kind of decide between in the Two of Swords. We have the magical, wonderful Queen of Wands coming through here. She can pretty much solve any problem if she puts her mind to it. Look at that beautiful crown that's also like a halo right around her head. She's very much connected to the divine. We see the cat that's often a part of this symbol as well. What I like about the cat is instinct. Trust your instinct. She's very rarely led astray by her instincts, and it's magic. So what happens sometimes is you think, gosh, I'm stuck. I'm never going to be able to get through this. It's not going to work. Those are manifesting thoughts. So get that out of your head. What you're going to do instead is close your eyes and think, all right, what do I do to fix this? I know I can figure this out. We're not as stuck as we feel. And then all of a sudden, inspiration comes through. And even if especially if it's very out there, out of the box, weird, go with that. See where that will take you. She comes up with unusual ideas because, again, she's magical and she's a good boss. This is the boss card. So if you've ever felt like, I don't know if I can do it, I don't know if I can lead, do I have it in me? You do. You just have to trust it. And a boss comes in and knows that. Now, you don't want to go crazy and be maniacal and all of that. It's just more coming in and saying, you want to be clear and you want other people to feel that clarity and then engage and see what happens, okay? So get organized, get in control of your life, and then if you need to, take the leadership role elsewhere because people are kind of waiting for you to step into that. We have a couple of very interesting energies here right next to each other. So the Queen of Swords is, when she's reversed or even like this, kind of like on the side, she can sometimes feel like she has an opinion on everything. So if this isn't you, this can be the peanut gallery. The Six of Wands can be the public, and everybody's an expert nowadays, right, about everything. So if you're looking at comments on something that you've posted, or people are just kind of like whispering or saying things, you're going to just tune it out. This card can be pushed in any direction like a tuner. So you're going to tune yourself back into the divine, back into your head, back into the task at hand, and you're going to tune out all of this. Sometimes it's nasty, sometimes it's just not even worth thinking about. So I tend not to, if someone says something truly cruel, just ignore it. It's not worth it. You can throw out the highest and the lowest, like averaging. So if someone's way too enthusiastic, that's probably not based in reality. And if someone is way too negative, that's not either. It's the ones that are kind of up here and here, and then definitely some of the stuff in the middle that you're going to take, and the rest of it, don't worry about it, okay? Don't let it boost your ego too much, and don't let it deflate you too much, because everybody has an opinion. And that's the important thing. Stay focused. Looking at your crowning card, we have the bonus card in this deck. I like reading with decks that have a few extra ones, and this one does. So this one reminds me, for those of you that are sci-fi or fantasy geeks like me, you probably have watched 2001, A Space Odyssey, or you've read the book by Arthur C. Clarke. This is like the Stargate, the monolith. I'm sure you've seen at least a clip from the movie. There's several scenes where there are these big sort of like metallic monoliths. And you don't find out until the second movie, although I believe it's actually in the first, it's in the book that Arthur C. Clarke wrote. Was it Dave, right? He was supposed to say this line, "My God, it's full of stars," when he was looking at the monolith. Maybe they thought it was too on the nose for audiences at the time, but the monolith was a Stargate. And sometimes, and you wouldn't think it, an opportunity comes in a strange shape or form, and that's the thing there. Not until you look straight into it when it was kind of right around Jupiter could you see all the stars, and that's when they had that trippy sort of like the scene in the movie towards the end. So imagine that you are touching that stargate, looking at something and thinking, wow, I thought I was stuck, but I'm not stuck at all, actually. But I have to now decide, am I willing and ready to take the next step? So in the movie, the main character becomes the star child. We see him kind of like fluctuate between old age and youth, and then there's like a little baby, becomes a star child. So you have this chance to be reborn. This would be the same as kind of me looking at the world and the Fool put together, or the world and the sun put together, because it's expansion but rebirth as well. So when you're reborn into something new, you carry with you the wisdom, but you get this sort of sense of looking at it through a baby's eyes. So the universe right now, through this particular spread and my memory of that movie, is asking you to try to put on a fresh set of eyes and goggles to this situation. And it will help you see a solution that you didn't before. Figuratively speaking, like when you have this sense that I'm not going to carry with me yesterday's preconceived ideas, worries, concerns. I'm going to have the youth and the optimism of a child or someone young, where they think I can do anything, right? We miss that sort of energy as we get older because we get way too practical, and we think, well, I'm going to worry about, I got to pay this money, I got to do this thing, I got these people depending on me, and all these things come in, and we forget we can still do it. We just are getting very, very practical. So you have a synchronicity that you've opened up, a window of opportunity, a portal, and it's just a question of if you're ready or willing to kind of like go through that. All right? By the way, if you have any questions, hold it until the end. There's always a final question at the end, and that's the time to do that. So right now, don't ask questions. Let's just enjoy, and we'll go through the flow. All right, so looking at what's coming through, we have a page of coin or page of pentacles here in the near future. So some of you may have an offer on the table. It may not be what you want. It could be a little lower. There could be something missing. You could think, I need more information on this. So there's a discerning quality to this page of pentacles. It's still an opportunity, but only you are going to know if this opportunity is enough for you, okay? So I see the consideration there, but I also see, look at all the green on here. There is room to grow. There is room to negotiate. So if you are being offered a job and the salary is low, then go back with a reasonable counter. But go back with enthusiasm and let them know you're interested, and say something akin to, I know we're very close. This is closer to what I was expecting. Let's have a chat again, and let's make this work. Be optimistic about it. Don't give an ultimatum. And if you are optimistic, but come with a counter adjustment, a counter offer, or a correction, but with the idea and the understanding that, yeah, I'm interested, but let's just sort this out first. That's going to be powerful because they're not worried about losing you, but they realize they might have to work a little bit more to get what they're wanting as well. So you have more power in the situation than you think. That was also what we were talking about in that final slide of the channel messages. Don't underestimate your power to negotiate, to speak up. This is you, by the way, Aquarius, Queen of Swords, straight at the center, capable of cutting through the nonsense. That's another thing that you could look at this and kind of like discern. All right, so let's go ahead now and take a look at how you feel and what's going on in your heart and soul and your ego. Hello, this is what we featured earlier. We have the Ten of Pentacles. So some of you are getting serious. Now, we're going to take this into the relationship energy that this would normally indicate. So some of you are ready to commit to something or someone. So if you've been dating someone for a while, if you've been friends with someone for a while, you're ready to say that it's something important to you. In a friendship, you might just be willing to call them a best friend. If it's someone that you've been dating for a while, you want to really know where you stand. And so you may be having that conversation about exclusivity. In an existing relationship, this could be expanding the family. This could also be focusing on familial issues, like maybe there's extended family too, like you want to have an older relative live with you, or you're thinking of planning for the future. It could be estate planning, all of those things. But we're looking at long-term goals. So I like this for you because that basically means that you're sending out to the universe the idea that I'm also worth long-term investment. I'm a sure thing. And that's actually a nice little mantra for you to think. It's kind of colloquial and it's kind of funny, but it's cool. It means like I'm worth it. I'm a sure thing, and I'm worth investing in. Really good energy to carry with you if you're going on a date, going on an interview, or just going about your day, because you're going to be attracting people that want to invest in this sure thing. So you're the real thing, okay? And that's what you want to keep in mind. And as you network, see what comes through with that new mantra. Some of you may be buying or selling a house, or some of you may be getting engaged, because this is an engagement or an investment or a development card. So one of those things should feel good to you, even if it is personal development. That would also work with this as well, okay? It's a very collegiate sort of energy. All right, we have the star, and a beautiful star at that. I love that we see the sort of figure on this almost like descending from one of the rays of light here, and we can see them playing with the star light and the rays there as well. So the fact that you got not one but two cards of success, the bending over backwards, Six of Wands, and then already in the environment, people seeing you and tapping on your shoulder because you have that star quality. And then also the star gate, the fountain card up here at the top. So you have no less than 3 success cards coming through for this month. I'm feeling good about what your potential is this month. The only thing that can be off-putting or nerve-wracking about the star is if you're used to blending in, it's going to be a lot harder this month. Accountability, attention, all that sort of energy is coming closer to you, and the light is shining on you. What's cool about this is she's having fun with that, and she realizes I can actually do something with this. I can sort of like play around with this new visibility, with this new platform, with this new energy that's availing itself to me. So that's what I would encourage you to do. If more eyes are on you, then engage and see what you can do with that. For those of you that have more sort of like philanthropic or just loftier ideas of how to give back to the world, you can use platforms and opportunities to bring attention to marginalized or more important issues. So it's never bad, even if you don't like the attention, you can still use that and redirect it. And that's what she's doing to some degree here, is redirecting. She's taking the star and bending the light. So if you have the spotlight, shine it. You can shine your light on someone else too, okay? But you can't hide from the light. You're going to be a part of it somehow. So either step into it and celebrate it, or take the spotlight and shine it. And that's your opportunity this month. But you're not going to be able to hide from visibility or accountability or attention. Instead, you're going to decide, what am I going to do about it? And you can always redirect. Because if someone's coming to you for a task or you for advice and you don't want to do it, first of all, you're still an expert, or you're still someone that they respect. And now you can say, I don't mind advising, but I think this is your person. So maybe you want to do that too. But I'm encouraging you, it feels like you've worked hard for this, or like this much energy of success doesn't always come through when I'm doing a reading. 6 of Wands, this Stargate card, and now the star itself. So have some fun and take advantage of this opportunity that you've built. All right. Now we have another juggling card and another sort of card of showing that you're at a fork in the road here. The 2 of Pentacles. So I very rarely read it as resource, and I'll give a resource meaning at the end, but I'm going to give you all the other things that I'm getting from it first. So my go-to read when I look at this is what's out of balance in your life. Work-life balance, health, money, something needs to be prioritized a little bit more. The 2 of Pentacles also requires that you make more of a hard and fast decision. 6 of Pentacles, you can juggle, you can put that off. 2 of Pentacles, you realize, gosh, if I keep stretching myself, I'm going to break. And we can kind of see that rubber band-like energy here. So it would be very good for you to say, this is the top priority. If you have to do a couple of things, no more than 2, the more things that you kind of add to your plate, the less you're going to be able to focus, and the more likely you are to get distracted or just to let something fall by the wayside, and you don't want that to happen. The good news and the often overlooked thing with the 2 of Pentacles is you take 1 away and you just have an ace. It's a lot easier to deal with 1 ace of Pentacles than with 2. It's kind of like if you're looking at gardening or being a farmer and you have limited resources like fertilizer or water or even limited space, because that's a resource. You'll have to decide what crop will be best. And what can if you have limited water, maybe then you plant something that doesn't require a lot of water, like nopales or you can like cacti or something. You're like, well, we'll use that in one field, and then here we'll grow something that requires a lot more water. But you're going to have to think about resource management. Pick one thing, and then if there's a second thing, it's still going to be something that you realize this isn't the top priority, okay? So balance something out, say no to one and yes to another, and watch the yes flourish, and look at the no. It's probably going to be fine, because what happens a lot of times with this is that there's someone in your life that's used to taking more than they need. Now they can step up. You can empower. You can delegate. You can also just let go of things that are kind of like a weed choking you out, choking out your energy, okay? All right, so let's take a look at your outcome card here. We have the 5 of Cups. It's a perspective shift, isn't it? And what I like to remind people with the 5 of Cups is there's always a hidden 2 of Cups there. For many of you, there is love, friendship, or partnership that's waiting for you. Some of you may be looking at all this other stuff and thinking, but this didn't work out, and I was upset over this, and I thought this was going to happen, and it didn't. Meanwhile, there's someone in your corner saying, but I believe in you. I've always believed in you, or I'm paying attention to you now. So I think the most important thing for you to do is to look at what is open to me energetically, and also on a heart level, what do I feel? And those things that had emptied out, that had fallen away, arguably it's for your own protection, and it's an okay thing. This is actually advantageous for you, okay? So change your perspective and change your life. I remember that old TV show, what was it? Heroes or something. It was like, save the cheerleaders, save the world. If you change your mind, you change your life. It's just a simple sort of thing, like I choose to succeed, I choose to be happy, I choose to let this go. The choice and then the resulting actions, that's where the power is. That first moment after the decision takes place. It's sort of like, enough, I'm now ready for this instead. That opens up the Stargate. The universe is like, aha, finally you realize. Finally realize you connect to that divine energy. We were just waiting for you to ask, for you to connect, for you to realize that you have that power. So don't get distracted by the small stuff. Remember that for that lily to reach the surface, it goes through a lot of mud, a lot of sediment, a lot of length and height to kind of get up to the top. So all these levels that you're going through, they're not going to stop you from achieving what you need to achieve, okay? This is a good month for you so far. I have to say I'm really happy with what I see. We'll expand it. We'll get a lot more depth and clarity as we do it. If you just joined, welcome. We're next going to take a look at the expanded forecast. Quick reminder, you can show your love by clicking subscribe, following me on social media, or if you want to give a super sticker or super chat, you can do that. In the meantime, we're going to get into the expanded forecast, which takes a look at health, wealth, love, and destiny. Please hold any questions until we do the silent question at the end, and you'll have a chance to look at it there. All right, we're going to start with your health card, which is multifaceted. It's mind, body, and spirit. And when we take a look at what came through, guess what? We have Speak Your Truth, Archangel Gabriel, one of the angels that I use when I light my candles. Thank you, Gabriel, for helping me speak with integrity. The card is reversed. We have a sideways Queen of Swords here crossing everything. Let's discuss. So this is you. This is Aquarius, and it's coming through loud and clear at the center. And it is saying you might have to cut through some nonsense. You might have to step into center stage, into the spotlight. And you might have to just really get to the point. even Gabriel came through reversed, which whenever I get a queen or a king reversed, or even an oracle like this, and it's saying, speak your truth, you may have to really speak it a few times, and it may not be what people want to hear. And I'm going to say this in the most loving way and supportive way possible. That's not your problem. It's not your problem, and it's not your business sometimes what people think, their opinions. They can keep them to themselves unless you're soliciting the opinion. Sometimes you simply need to say and do what you need, especially when it's for your well-being, and that's what health is, well-being. So somebody could be hurting you, and you need to tell them no. They don't want to hear no, but you need to say no. Maybe someone isn't accepting you for whatever reason, and whatever part of your life they're not accepting. That is a conditional love that they're giving you, and you're looking for unconditional support. So if you can't be the true you, the star that you are, then this person is not your binary star. They're not deserving of that energy. So that's okay. You're going to maybe say something that's unpopular, but absolutely necessary. It could be as simple as a no. It could be more complicated, like this is who I love, and I know you may have expected me to love someone different, but too bad. Or this is the job that I want to do, and I know you wanted me to do that career, but this is who I am. So the bigger question that Gabriel is kind of asking you is, who are you? And are you able to be yourself? And if not, work with me this month, work with Gabriel, Archangel Gabriel, to be yourself, to channel the truth. The prayer that I say to Gabriel, and I'll say a variation of it each time, but usually I ask to be a clear channel. I'll say, help me get out of my own way. Help me say the right thing to the right people at the right time, to be a clear channel and to connect with the energy of God, or the highest energy in the universe. And that's my sort of goal, is to just not have Nicholas get in the way, but have like the higher version of me come through, all of the Nicholases, all the energy, everything that I ever was, and then go even filter it up higher so that I'm pulling the highest energy. Because sometimes we have the denser sort of human body on this planet that gets in the way. So I always ask to be a little bit more than I am, to kind of get clearer, to be connected to that higher energy. So you could ask for that for yourself. Just say, help me be the highest version of myself. Help me be the divine channel that I am. Help me connect to that and speak that truth, and do so without fear, because it's the highest version of me. Okay? Let's look at some specific messages around health and well-being. I always like to remind folks that I'm here to help you with energy. So if we highlight something that connects to something you're experiencing in your body, talk to a professional about that. If you're having a difficult time emotionally, talk to a professional about that. But I will look at things energetically that could help or hinder some of these health issues. All right, with that being said, I think the biggest thing that's coming through for you, because it's right at the heart of the spread, is pressure. 6 of Wands in reverse is peer pressure, pressure to succeed, being a recovering perfectionist, if you will. You don't have to be perfect. I said it earlier, I'll say it again. Some of you may be tongue-tied. Plan it out. Maybe you can do a team presentation. We have 2 very strong energies here, so leadership does not have to happen in a vacuum. You can have someone there to complement you, and that will help. Again, the peer and familial pressure play like equal roles this month with the 6 of Wands and the 10 of Pentacles, 6 of Wands reversed. Some of you have just been used to doing everything for everyone, and the 2 of Pentacles is saying you can't keep doing that. Something has to give. It is a card of balance as well. So if you're having any issues with balance, talk to your doctor. It could be something very important, but as a sort of more figurative card, it's showing that work-life balance is probably the main thing to look at, and then maybe relationships or something else in your life needs to take center stage. This is usually saying you're overdue for an optometrist appointment. It also is saying don't ignore something. So the 2 of Swords is sometimes sweeping things under the rug. And it can also be sort of saying, like, if I just don't pay attention to this ache, this pain, this person, this problem, it'll go away. No, that's usually not what happens when you ignore it. It can just sort of like fester, or it will come back, because energetically, if you ignore a message, it's just going to find another way to manifest. And if we ignore something like stress in our life, then it often comes through in a ache or pain or body ailment. So whether it's external, internal, or cognitive, you want to kind of like pay attention to what it is. It's going to see the light of day anyway. Okay. Nothing here that looks to me to be overly worrisome. Just stress management and then articulating or saying it. Some of you may just keep it within. Particularly if you're a parent or a caretaker, you're like, who can I really complain to, because I'm supposed to be managing all of this and juggling all of this. But you can talk to somebody if you need to, and it's okay. And we all have days where it's like, I've had enough. And so you'll find that special someone that you can talk to. That's the networking that I talked about earlier. It can just be your friend network, right? Especially for those of you that might have just gotten out of a divorce, lost someone that you love, or your work situations change. Whenever you have a big shift in your life, you really need that friend network more than ever. All right. We just looked at health. Let's take a look at wealth. I love that we got the scarab beetle, because the beetle was one part of that initial totem. But let's look at these two energies. And we got the Stargate here as well. Okay, so lots of cool synchronistic energies. We're going to start with the central sun here, but it's a beetle here. So wealth. Wealth is money, resources, life purpose. Depending on where you're at in your career or your life. If you're a student, if you're working, if you're retired, we'll make it relevant for you. So this says central sun, abundance, downloads, regeneration, success. Basically, we could just look at this as the sun card, but carried with it, we have the dung beetle, which in ancient Egypt was a very powerful symbol of regeneration and fertility and abundance. So you have the power to be born again, which is what I talked about with the fountain card or the Stargate, and in a more sort of like earthly way of thinking of this, you can redefine who you are and what you want to do on a daily basis. This works for me. This doesn't work for me. I want to do this instead. So you can reimagine the possibilities and have some fun with it, because of all of the cards in tarot, I like the kid cards sometimes, and one of the child cards is the sun. So you have the Six of Cups, you have the sun, you have the Fool. They're the most sort of like childlike energies. Any of the pages would also comprise some of that children energy as well. But with the sun, can you have some fun in this exploration of whatever it is you're doing? Because if you can be playful, then new and exciting things can kind of open up for you. Stargate heart chakra opening and unlocking. So I've talked about this, I feel like, so many times that you've kind of got it hammered in. If you can really love who you are, what you're doing, what your capacity is, then so many things start to open up. When we looked at this card, it was reversed. So some of you may feel like, I have to do this because it's what's expected of me. But your heart is like, but this is what I really want. So I want you to see if there's not a way that you can blend, merge, or choose the path of the heart. We live many, many lives, but we only have this life once, and this experience once, and this body once. So as you walk through it, think to yourself, how long do I want to wait? I'm at a point, like, again, and I don't mind talking about it, but like having just had a parent pass away and then being at a point where I now have a lot more sort of like free time and there's really nobody energetically around me. I think to myself, what if that had happened like 10 years earlier, 20 years earlier? Because it's actually changed me in ways that were unexpected, because it's changed my perspective. And I was thinking about this and I wanted to talk about it to the next sign. If there's something that you need or want to do, first of all, whenever someone passes in your life, it teaches you the lesson of how finite our journey is. There is a beginning and an end. We don't get to know the end point. It could happen at any point. So every day you should be living with the understanding and the feeling like, I could go to soul review today. This could be it. Did I do a good enough job? Am I happy with things? If you're not, why are you waiting? Tomorrow, maybe, we don't know how many tomorrows we have. So if you want to study something, and it doesn't matter if you're retired or if you're young or where you're at, learn about it, absorb it, embrace it. If you're tired of something, why are you putting valuable lifeblood into something that is a waste? If I could go back and change something, I wouldn't change what I studied. I wouldn't change friends. There'd be a couple things. There were some days at some jobs that I had where I sat there and I was bored and I just waited for it to end. And I would take those days back and I would have left and I would have done something different. Because there were many, like probably even a few years of my life that I just spent in a way that wasn't wise. It was a frivolous expenditure. So now I don't waste time and I don't mince words and I get to the point because I already wasted time. So don't waste time. Don't wait for tomorrow. Don't wait for retirement. Don't wait for a better moment to say what you need to say. Do it now so that you have some time down the road to be frivolous. But you don't want to waste time, okay? And these two cards are showing the power that you have. You can be playful, you can be powerful, you can have fun, and you can connect your heart to that. And when you do that, people will look at you and they'll say, yeah, this person knows what they're doing. I still did things in a good time and I'm still youngish, but I would have probably spent a lot of time, maybe even a decade differently. So I'm at a point where I realized that was a long time. A lot of the corporate experiences that I had built character, but I don't want to go back to corporate. It would be the last thing because there was so much wasted time. And don't waste time, okay? Do something powerful this month to recalibrate and make up for lost time. So now what I do instead of feeling bad is I'm like, every day is going to be make amazing things happen. We're going to have, just this fiery, vibrant energy, including these things that I'm doing here, these readings, which is why I tend to talk and go over. But I'm like, there's so much we can talk about. There's so much we can do. And I want to make sure that every sign has the capacity to have the aha moment. So I chose your sign this month to remind everybody of your power. And Aquarius, you are pretty powerful. You have the ability to look at things, because you're air, from different points of view. Looking at the other air signs, sometimes Gemini and Libra can look at things and think too much, but you're a little more decisive. So I want you to be able to move forward quickly and trust in your voice and trust in your vision. And use that little bit of stubbornness that's a part of this particular air sign to your advantage and make it work, okay? Let's look at the rest of the cards and get back into the energy. That was a little rant, but I wanted to remind you that today is the day to make something happen. No more procrastination for tomorrow or the day after that or the month after that, et cetera, et cetera. All right, so I think part of the reason that I'm saying this for you today is Six of Wands, Stargate, Star. Big expansion energies. This is your crown chakra. This is everything around you. This is what's coming through. And this is also your environment. So you have double success. So you have to be willing and ready to speak things into action, to act things into action, to take the lead, to step into the spotlight. Because if you do that, then there is success, investment, partnership opportunities that are abounding, okay? You can do this. You don't have to do this alone. A lot of times I talk about entrepreneurial energy. I actually see kind of like a partnership energy here with the two queens, right? I like evenly matched energy. This is going to also factor in when we look at love in a minute. But it feels like there's a good, successful relationship, partnership for those of you that want to do something successfully in your life. So I like that for you. And the most important thing is to not overlook the person that has your back. I like that the Two of Cups is in the back, it's in the rear. You have to look around to see it, to understand someone has been here all along. It's like the footsteps in the sand sort of poem. Same sort of thing. There's someone here that's been your advocate, your support, lifting you up, but you're not paying attention to them, or you're overlooking it because of the disappointment here. But meanwhile, big opportunity, success, and more success. So I think this is a chance for you to just shift your attention. Yeah, that didn't work. Like me, maybe yes, you spend some time on stuff that was frivolous, but look at all this stuff in front of you. There's so much to celebrate. We can't live for yesterday. You have to think of tomorrow, and you have to think about what you're going to manifest for tomorrow, because once you make that switch, then each tomorrow starts to get brighter and brighter, and it doesn't matter so much, and you make up for lost time. So see this month as the sprint in the relay race, where, again, no regrets. Everything gave you the context and the clarity for now. But if you start sprinting, then you're going to see rapid progress this month, okay? But the only block that I'm picking up so far, we'll look at some more when we do blessings and blocks, is to basically not be stuck in the past, okay? And I'm not stuck in the past, and I don't beat myself up. Because I will say one thing. Having done all of that, I am clear beyond a shadow of a doubt that I never want to sit in a meeting again and talk about all of the other meetings. It was that we used to just sit and talk about meetings and deadlines, and there was no time to work. I worked at a place where we spent all day just tracking meetings and deadlines, and then you had to stay late and work weekends because that's all you did. And I do not miss that because you can actually overmanage. And I was in a place where there was overmanagement. So I'm sure in my life that I just want to be doing things, experiencing things, and being a part of it rather than just being a big cog in a big machine. So it gave me clarity beyond belief, and in no future lifetime will I do that again. So sometimes we just have to go through it, and it takes different amounts of time. Unlike school, where we have these pre-measured, which by the way, it doesn't work for everybody anyway, but like we've decided that it's going to be 12 years to gain all the skills that you need in life. How arbitrary is that, by the way? And even college, that it's going to be 2, 4, 8, or whatever. We have these weird desires to categorize and put it into things, but everybody, it's different. So you may need a lot, you may need a little, you may have done all the work in a past lifetime and you're like a phenomenal sort of genius in this lifetime. Who are we to decide? Just trust that this month it's all gonna all come together, okay? I feel good about what's coming through for you, but don't take less than what you deserve. So this is what you deserve, 10 of Pentacles. Here's an offer on the table. There could be someone, again, that's either trying to lowball you or ask for too much. So you're going to use your power this month to say no to this, yes to this, to counter, to state the interest. And that's important to remember. If you're having a hard time finding what you're looking for, that doesn't mean that it's not available. You may have to think about, what am I going to do until this manifests or until this opens up? So there are other things that could be calling to you right here and right now. So focus on what is receptive. And that is something that it took me a long time to learn energetically when it came to work and opportunities, is basically that if I'm blocked in too many directions, that this isn't it. And I'm laughing at someone who said that corporate world spat you out. I actually spat out the corporate world because I could have stayed until retirement. I just wasn't happy. I had reached a glass ceiling. So this was the block that I realized. I was in the same job for like 6 years at one point. And prior to that, I was on this really rapid ascension. I was like, no, this isn't it. And even if I could get past this glass ceiling, it's still not it. But if you're stuck at the top, or if you're stuck on this, like if you can't get out, you're in a box somehow. So we say glass ceiling, but sometimes you're just stuck. Then push through the box and go somewhere else. If you keep getting that sort of energetic block, not now, not enough, etc., then that's all you need sometimes. You shouldn't have to sort of like keep asking or keep pushing. There comes a point after 2 or 3 or 4 attempts where it's like, enough now. Okay? So I see there's a breakthrough for you. The question is, are you ready for it? It's the unknown. It can be a little scary. There's a paradigm shift and an attention shift that's happening here, looking at what is receptive. And then there's a choice to prioritize and balance one direction in your life. Once you do that, you're going to see marked growth on that. All right, let's look at relationships now. This is, first of all, it's going to be relationships with a capital R, or L with a love with a capital L. We're looking at the larger version of it, not just kissing and making out. I look at love as your family, your friends, your core relationships at work, and then of course the romantic relationships, but it's not just romantic, because love is the universal currency, and you love your pet, you love your family. Like, we have to look at love in a bigger sense. So that's what we look at first with this oracle card. Then I break it down to the smaller ones. So the big version of love says, take some time, take a step back, get some perspective. So some of you may actually be in a very magnetic and attractive sort of energy with this 10 of Pentacles. Friends, family, maybe even if you're in a more public-facing job, you know, the audience, the public, your fans. There's a lot of energy coming at you, and we saw that also in the environment here with the star. So with all of these eyes on you, you may have to just kind of go back to basics and think, all right, who am I? What do I want? Is this still good for me? This sort of relationship that I have with my job or with this other person. So you just need some perspective, okay? Get that perspective and see what it tells you. I'm going to look at the cards and see if I can get you some insights on that. We're going to do 3 different lenses. The first one is what most people want to see, which is love relationships, someone that you're really connected to. If you're not married, engaged, or dating someone, you can still use this for the closest person that you have in your life, the one that you feel like is family. And then we'll look at those of you that are looking for love or single and happy. All right, so for love relationships or that close bond relationship in your life, the person that you're thinking of when I say, who do you love? This is what we're focusing on first. So what I love is that there's an evenly met energy between the Queen of Wands and Queen of Swords. I like 2 queens, I like 2 kings, because it shows that you're both equals, okay? I don't really read gender in cards. I read the attributes and I read the sort of like where they are level-wise. So queens are great because what we get with this sort of energy is nurturing, supportive, and then different sort of qualities. So one is outspoken. This is you for the most part because it came through as Queen of Swords. So it feels like you have an easier time saying what you need to say and doing what you need to do. The partner that comes through for you seems to be a little headstrong, a little bossy, a little less verbal, but demonstrates things more. So you want to talk it out, but they want to sort of like act it out or show it. And they're thinking to themselves, like, I cooked you dinner. Isn't that my way of showing you like I loved you? Or I fixed the car, or I remembered to do this for you. I'm showing you my love. I don't have to say it all the time. So there might be someone that's showing that they care and that they love, but you may need more validation. So communication and sort of like just even like how you're in a relationship, it's going to be different. This person likes to be right and likes to be in the lead, and this person likes to talk it out. So it just feels like there's an opportunity to have more discussion about things that matter and to say even what it is that you like about the other person or when they do something right, or say really means a lot when you say I love you or thank you. I know you mean it. I know you always put it like it's just been a day and you made my day. You know, it's been a rough day and this was something that kind of changed the energy. So positive affirmation for when they're doing something right, communicating about fears or anxieties, but always assuming the best, because I'm not seeing any energy here to suggest that you need to be worried. It's just more like being able to talk about what's important to you. One of the things that does look like it could factor into relationships is a lack of clarity. So like where do we stand on this? And for some of you, like if you've been dating someone for a while, this is the commitment question. Like, are we going to be exclusive, or are you interested in a family, or do you want to get married? So there could be those big discussions coming through because you're in the dark, and this is a dark, like being in the dark sort of card. I think it's good to sort of state what it is that you want. Think about the timing, think about the place, but this is putting yourself out there. Page of Coins in reverse, so Page of Pentacles in reverse. Putting yourself out there, making it clear, and you have the power to do so. I think the other thing is one or both of you may want more time with each other, because this card in a relationship is like I want to see more of you, or I need more time. Meanwhile, this is the difference. So one wants more, one needs space. So you're going to have to negotiate boundaries. So you could say, well, I like to read, like for instance, and just say, and that's something that I like. So, I'm going to go to a cafe for 2 hours and get caught up on this book. And then maybe we can go out to dinner tonight or see a movie and just like turn our phones off and have some fun. So negotiate. I need a little bit of me time, or I need to finish up this project, but all of tonight or all of tomorrow, it's all yours. We'll do whatever you want. So give and take. You're going to have to give and take. And I think that's key. So space, but also like connection. And I know they seem, kind of like they're the antithesis of one another, but I think they can be complementary. I think you can say, once I do this, then I can be all yours. But you're going to have to hold true to that. Don't give them a 7 of Swords sort of thing where you fall short on it. So negotiate time and negotiate boundaries. And I think all good relationships, it can't be 100%. It's not all or nothing. I actually had a friend once that said, they were jealous that I was hanging out with other friends, and they said it's all or nothing with me. I said, then it's going to have to be nothing, because I need balance in my friendships. And I think they were surprised, but I'm very happy in retrospect that I did that, because that was a very dramatic thing. And that was also a little scary, that someone would be jealous of you just sort of hanging out and having a balanced life. And I thought, no, I'm not looking for that right now. I like you. Feel free to keep in touch, and we can, but they had an ultimatum and they stuck with it. And I'm like, that's on you, not me. So in a relationship, it can't be all or nothing. There has to be room to bend and to negotiate. And if someone is that restrictive, then that's also kind of like a litmus test, especially for those of you that are not looking at romantic, but looking at friendships, because I said you could use it for that. That's a lot. That's a lot, actually, if someone will be jealous of you dating or having other friends or working, sort of like, no, that's just part of a balanced life. And even in a loving relationship, they can't have 100% of your time. That's not the agreement. It's a partnership, 50-50. So just negotiate the give and take, and I think you're going to be fine. Let's take it now to those of you that are looking for love this month. Here's some good news. This is a breakthrough. This is a pivotal moment. This is all eyes being on you, and this is also all eyes being on you. So I think the biggest challenge for you is maybe if you're how to kind of like that person may have a hard time getting you alone, or maybe you just need some time to get to know the person away from a bigger group. So if you've been double dating, or if there's been a big sort of like hangout sort of thing, you're going to need some time to just be able to hear each other, to talk to each other. You may need to take a little bit of time away from work so that you can reset. You might need to make some space in your life, because right now I see work success kind of coming through in a big way. And you are going to be challenged if you meet someone. So that tug of war that we were just talking about may come through there, where you meet someone and you think, ugh, how am I going to fit this into my schedule? Okay. I think that it's kind of a nice segue into single but happy. If you're single this month, enjoy the spotlight, enjoy this expansive energy, enjoy what's coming through with work and resources, and get settled in that first. Because once you've gotten that energy out of your sort of like mind and field a little bit, then you can feel a little bit more at ease with whoever wants to come in, okay? The who is pretty good here. Like I said, when I get the 2 queen cards, I get nice supportive energy, and I can see sort of like a nice equal energy too. Karmically, there's not a lot of stuff that I'm worried about either. The 2 of Swords and the 2 of Pentacles, I think, again, whether you're single and happy or single and looking, it's just about like what's your number one priority right now. Because it feels like you're torn between a few things. And there may be a reason that that person hasn't showed up just yet, because you need to find the balance within. Okay, so I think there's actually a lot of parity and a lot of commonality between single and looking and single and happy. This month is really a chance to find the balance that you need in your life. Get everything finished and embrace this moment. And then focusing more toward the end of the month and into the month that's after that, saying, all right, I'm putting myself out there to date again, and I'm going to make this a priority if that's what you want. Because right now it doesn't feel like it's the top priority, and it feels like you can control that if you want to. Okay? And yeah, for those of you that are just enjoying your space, that card is affirming it. And I think there's still a chance to sort of think like, what do I want to do? How do I want to spend my time? Do I love what I'm doing? All of those questions. All right, let's focus now on your destiny card. We have the playful otter. And I love any sort of totem that can go between 2 different elements, and otters work with both the ground and also so like earth and water, and I like that. But primarily they're water, and to me, what I would say with this is the ability to build something that matters, and to kind of like, what's the goal right now? If I were to ask you, like, what is it that you're trying to accomplish, and could you see that as something that's fun? So I'm trying to find a place myself, and I'm trying to have fun with that and think, well, this could be really cool. I could find something that feels better. It could be a different part of town. It could be this. So once you start to look at it as a possibilities sort of thing rather than a pressure that I have to find something in X amount of time, I've actually not put a deadline on it. I'm just focusing on the right place. So whether it's 1 week, 1 month, 3 months, it doesn't matter. I'll find the right place. So I'm intent on that. And then I just have fun looking. And every day could be a day where you discover what you're looking for. So have some fun and have some purpose, but have some fun most importantly. And that's really what the otter wants you to do, is to look at things with curiosity, optimism, exploration or discovery. How can you make this enjoyable, fun? Curiosity is probably the easiest one. Ask questions and learn. But if you can have fun with it on top of that, even better. Okay? Let's go ahead now and switch decks here, since you wanted me to use 2 today. And we're going to expand the forecast beyond what we just talked about. So the first card that I'm going to pull in the expanded forecast is the big idea. The big idea is going to be one card that helps you focus on how to make the most out of whatever it is that you're trying to do. We have the Hermit. This is a really cool Hermit though, because we kind of see the Hermit and then this stag behind him, or deer or whatever, that is really the inner energy that wants to come out. Because I feel like that's what the Hermit's going to become. Normally we would see a lantern. Instead we see a new day dawning, and we see this ultimate form. It's kind of like his spirit animal that's coming through. So just because you're quiet now, just because you're still right now, just because your life has looked a certain way up until now, it does not mean that that is what you are destined to be. It's like a new chapter in the book, or a new part. Sometimes there's even sections in the book. I feel like you're just finishing one and you're on to the next exciting chapter. Maybe you're in act 2 or 3, something really cool where the pivotal action starts to happen. So you don't have to keep this to yourself anymore, because the Hermit card here is not reversed, but I'm really focusing on the new day here. So it's not going to be quiet for long. I would say you could enjoy the quiet a little bit if there is a lull in action or activity or anything. And think to yourself, what am I going to do once things start to change? Already put yourself in that new day and think, all right, I'm ready and I'm appreciative for this little bit of relaxation, of quiet time. This is especially, it's nice because we just talked about relationships a few moments ago. If you have more space in your life, let's say you're single and happy, or single and looking, do something great with that time and energy. As you know, there's going to be lots of times in your life where others are depending on you or others are in your life. So it's a gift. Even the quiet, even the space is a gift. This is a card of learning. So if you need to finish something up like a GED, a high school equivalency, or you're going to college, or you want to get some advanced training or go and get your PhD, I don't care what it is. Whatever it is that you want to expand or learn, this is a great card for inner growth and introspection. Know yourself, know your topic, and look forward to making some leaps and bounds. Let's move to blessings and blocks. Pretty self-explanatory. Let's see what's going to help you get further, what you want to be mindful of, and make sure that you're not rushing up against here. The blessing and the block. Okay. The blessing's a great card. I actually love the way that this was illustrated. I think we have like Aladdin here, but all of the different magic lamps here. 7 of Cups at its best is a card where you can dream the impossible. You can brainstorm and look at all the different possibilities. And the idea is that one of those wishes can come true. Let's even say many of those wishes can come true. So you just have to really focus, because one of the interesting things with the whole sort of genie in a bottle kind of mythology is there was a limit. You couldn't have everything. You had to limit it to 3. And the genie usually tricked you sometimes. And if you were asking a question about your wishes, that would end up being one of your wishes or something. So, so what I would say that's important for you is to be realistic, to also be concise. And for some of you, this is very true for business people out there. So I have a specific message if you have a small business or you're trying to do something important in your life. Less is more. Do less, but do it better. So if you think of a restaurant, this is actually the perfect example. Have you ever been to a restaurant that has a menu that has like 10 or 15 pages and it's overwhelming and there's no focus? You can get like pizza and you can get an omelet and you can get like all these different things. Nothing is even, there's no cohesive cuisine or approach. And then you go to another place and there's maybe one page and there's maybe 5 entrees, 3 started. Like it's very, very clear. Like it has a vision and there are certain things that jump out. You can make a decision. Given 1 to 2 pages, you can scan it and make a choice on what you want to eat and drink and what you want for dessert. If you have 15 or 20 pages, you're worried because they're like, why are they serving different types of cuisine that's not even related? Like maybe there's Indian, Italian, and Middle Eastern food all mixed on the same menu, and you think, no, this is not going to be good. They can't do all of this and do it well. So have a clear vision and do less but do it better. So think of the menu at a restaurant and think, I'm going to serve up something that's my best. And maybe that means that there's only 5 entrees, but they're going to be 5 amazing entrees, and anything that I put forward is going to be the best. And that's the message with this 7 of Cups. It's kind of weird, but that's what I'm getting. Don't serve everything up. Edit. Be more specific. Explore all the options yourself, but then really think, if I was on the receiving end of this, this is all I need to hear. I was helping a neighbor the other day, they read a text to me because I used to write and I was kind of helping them edit it down. So I was like, you're telling me too much. It's too much. Just go to this, go to that. And then if there's a second exchange, then you can do this. Less is more. Serve up the succinct thing first. You do the work, you do the editing, and give them the best. And that's going to serve you well because that was in your blessing category. So when you edit and you make it easier to follow, you make it easier for them to say yes. And that's the goal. Your block is that you're busy. There's a lot going on. It's actually a blessing in disguise here. Here's how you can kind of overcome feeling like, oh my God, I've got to do everything. All you have to do is turn to the right or to the left, and there's likely someone that can give you some assistance. The 8 of Wands is actually a family/community card. Those wands don't get thrown in the air without somebody throwing them in the air. So there's a bunch of other people that are trying to do this. So there's some efficiencies, there's some opportunities. I feel like too many people might be doing the same thing without enough collaboration or kind of coordination. So more collaboration and coordination. So leadership. And that's why earlier we had the Queen of Wands coming through. Take the lead. Even if it's a temporary sort of thing, say, hey, sorry if I'm overstepping, but what if we do this, this, and this? I'd be happy to take this on or whatever. And I feel like that's going to get stuff done faster. All right. So edit and be specific and don't give people too much to digest. And then remember that there's a lot of other people that can work with you on this. So somebody needs to set a common goal and get everybody moving in the right direction. And for some of you, you're just worried about, can I keep doing this? And you can. So this can be fear of success getting in the way. 6 of Wands and 8 of Wands have very similar sort of energies. They're sustainable. They come because you've worked hard. And sometimes you worry like, is this going to end? No, it doesn't have to end. Don't think that way. Just think, what can I do to bring this to the next level? So no limiting or defeatist thoughts. You don't need that right here, right now. Let's shift into the viewers and readers' choice. At this point, we're going to get a little bit more communicative here. I'm going to look at some stuff. You're going to have a chance to vote on topics that you like, and then we'll go from there. Okay. All right, so let me turn the camera down so you can see what I see. And let's chat. All right, so asking for help, even like with this divine support card, it feels like that's the first question that I'm going to have you vote on, just because it makes sense here. So I'm going to even make it more succinct here. How to ask for help. All right, and I want to look at the spotlight, so I'll do that as the reader's choice. Let's see what else here. Oh, this is perfect. Finding the balance necessary. I'll just say finding balance in your life. There you go. Having fun. So how to create more joy. All right. Here you go. You've got 3 options there that you can vote on. And then I'm going to look at, what did I say I was going to look at? Stepping into the spotlight, because that can feel like it's a little bit revealing. It's a little scary. So how can you really embrace the spotlight? That's the reader's choice. Okay, so we'll start with mine, and then we'll take a look at what you're looking at. So I was asking, how can you step into the spotlight? We have a Page of Wands here. Oh, let me just turn the camera this way so you can see me. All right, so Page of Wands. So pages are a lot more open-minded than the other levels in the court cards. So one thing that I think would be really good for you is to continue to stay open-minded with what you can do. Part of the reason people can break through, and when we look at this is all about having a breakthrough for you, is that they do something different. So I'll give you an example, like Billie Eilish, when she broke through a few years back, her sound was different, right? Or even like Harry Styles and the albums he does. He doesn't do what's expected in any of them. He does what he wants to do. And there's definitely a sound to him, but like each album's kind of unique. So like when we look at musicians, they'll do what feels right. The successful ones will also change it each time, so it's not repeating, like I said, lightning in a bottle. Then we think of other things like fashion. Certain colors are dictated by like Pantone and everything, but there are certain trends that come in and out, and it is sort of like what people are open to. And sometimes it's political changes, sometimes it's like just changes and getting bored with something. I think back to even like the 90s, where grunge became popular. And it was the one time where like we were wearing things that were really baggy and really weird and kind of like counter cool. It was almost like punk. So you were just trying to look bad. So doesn't look good when you look back at old photos, but it was an experience, just like the 80s and the 70s and the 60s. It's kind of interesting how those periods in time are much more punctuated than like 2000s or 2010s or the 20s. There's not a lot going on in the last 20 or 30 years like there was in the decades that preceded it. But like in the 60s and 70s, a lot of cultural and sort of like political things were changing the way people were dressing and growing out your hair and, hemlines coming up and all of that stuff. So reacting to the moment and being ready to do something in the moment and following what is right at that time. That is what I'm getting with the Page of Wands. She's tuned in. She hears, she understands, and then she presents what is right at this time. What's right at this time won't be something that made sense for the people that came before you. And it may in the future not always make sense, but it's going to be successful. It's going to be that aha moment, the next big thing. So if you really want to do what's right, have your pulse on like what feels authentic and put it out there. The more you are yourself, the more you are able to kind of like really be the best and stand out. You're supposed to stand out a little bit here. Okay. The other thing here, taking it away from those of you that are like, I am not a radical person. Okay. Then you have to listen. Pages don't, like Page of Swords would be talking, Page of Wands is listening and then is going to develop that. There are times in a meeting or a conversation or water cooler or networking where it's okay for you to wait and listen and get everything that's being said. When you speak, show that you've listened. So I try to kind of like remember as much as I can when I'm talking to somebody, like about what they've said before. I'll say, wait, didn't we do, then wasn't it this? And then they're usually surprised that you listened because a lot of times people are tuned out. So try to take it in and listen. And then this is also going to be what helps you succeed because people know that you were invested energetically in what they had to say. Listen first, then speak, and show that you really soaked in what you heard. Okay, let's go ahead now and we're going to look at what one first and then I'll turn the camera down. You chose wisely with finding balance in your life. So I like that because we kept seeing cards of balance. So let's see. Okay, it actually volunteered. So we have the Eight of Swords, but I'll pull one card on top of that as well. Okay. Taking control of fears is what we're getting here. So we have the Eight of Swords coming through. You got the sister cards here. The Two of Swords and the Eight of Swords both have blindfolds, both tend to be a little bit afraid. The Eight of Swords, oftentimes what happens is you've painted yourself into a situation. So we're looking at balance, right? Finding balance. Okay, so what's happened for some of you is maybe you let something go so long that you feel like there's no way to say or do what you need to do. The illusion here is that it has to keep going on. It doesn't. The sooner you actually speak or act upon what you need to make that change happen, the freer that you'll feel. Notice that in most illustrations, including, I believe, the Rider-Waite-Smith illustration of the Eight of Swords, the person's not truly trapped. They're just blindfolded and they can't see their way out of it. So one of the ways that you can gain some clarity, here's your traditional Eight of Swords. So we'll see that there's actually no swords in front of her. They're behind her and beside her. So all you have to do is kind of like get a gut check for where you're at and ask someone, say, what do you think of this? Get another perspective, because your perspective here, it could be limited, it could be fear-based, it could be not the big picture. My clarifying card for this one was to regain control. You've always had it. There is a fear or a feeling with the Eight of Swords that I can't do it, I'm stuck. And the Empress is coming through reversed here, but she's saying, no, you're not. But you feel like you are. And because you feel like you are, then you're calling in an experience that validates that belief. So change your belief and take the reins and do something about that situation. For some of you, it's a power struggle because the Empress can be mom, boss, or a really bossy person in your life. But because you had Queen of Wands, you're just going to have to stand up to that person. Sometimes walking away or saying no or saying goodbye or saying I quit or saying we need to get a divorce, that's enough. And then you just move into your own direction. But it could be a lot easier, just like no, or this isn't working, or we need to talk about this and change something, right? Okay. Now we're going to do something fun. The whole reading has hopefully been fun for you, but we're going to do something new. Starting last month, I began an experimental portion on this, which is the sun, rising, and moon messages, and it was pretty popular. So I'm going to keep doing it until I feel like it isn't, or until something else comes along, because it feels like it's a nice addition. So what we're going to do now is fine-tune this for those of you that may be Aquarius sun, Aquarius rising, Aquarius moon, and talk about how this can be even more sort of like tailored to you. All right, let's pull the cards first, and then we'll come back and talk about each one of those placements. Wow. They're actually popping out today, some of the cards, which is amazing. So that's for sun, rising. Wow, you've got some changes, Aquarius. Okay, and moon. Okay, it got real, didn't it, as I looked at sun, rising, moon. So now we're going to look at where the opportunity for growth and change is. As a reader, I actually love getting these cards because I can help you. So let's begin with sun sign messages. This flipped out of the deck here. We have the Ten of Swords coming through for Aquarius sun. So here's what you want to think about with the Ten of Swords. A lot of times, if you're a new reader, you get scared when you see this. I like to look at the Ten of Swords with like a little bit of optimism in that you know what you don't want. If I had to find the best read for the Ten of Swords, it would be what I talked about earlier for like 5 minutes. Sometimes we go through something just to get the experience of dislike or distaste or anger or whatever. So you went through something and you thought, that wasn't it. That wasn't it. Maybe you dated someone and you broke up. Maybe you tried a flavor of ice cream and you thought that tasted really bad. Or you went through something in your life and it was difficult. The Ten of Swords can constitute so many different things. Breakup, loss of love or loss of someone that you cared about. It can be extreme disappointment or just extreme sort of like discomfort. So whatever this is in your life, it's done now, or it can be done soon, because you have gained the most valuable thing. By knowing what you don't want, you have a clearer idea of what you want, okay? So again, sun sign is like the default that most of these readings would be. It's what you were born under. It shows your true personality. And with the Ten of Swords, you're going to choose a path that brings happiness. We see a pretty gruesome Ten of Swords. They all are for the most part, except when I look at Light Seers, and because she's like walking away from it. Maybe I'll pull that up in a second. But with this one, we see someone cutting off someone's fingers. So if someone has not only said no, but repeatedly has done things to make it difficult for you, you're done now with that. Whatever that path is, no more. You don't need to deal with it, okay? So you have permission, encouragement, and a card saying it's okay to move on. This is also saying I don't need or want to feel this pain in my life, excuse me, anymore. And it may just be like that little frog that's in my throat. You're going to speak your truth. Okay, so I think that's the important thing. Prioritize your personal health. Easy for me to say, right? Prioritize your personal health, because what might be happening is you've worn yourself out, and you've been working too hard. You've been helping others too much. And what happens with the Ten of Swords is it can be something that we inflict upon ourselves. So we decide like we're just going to work until we break. So don't do that. Be healthy. Choose a happier path. One that is more fulfilling. Say no if you need to. You know what you need to do. You know where the full stop, where the period, where the block is, and it's time to move beyond that. And that's my succinct message for Sun sign. There's a lot of breakout energy that we saw to celebrate here. Again, the Stargate, the Six of Wands, the Star. This is in the past. You don't need to do this anymore, okay? It's so interesting. It doesn't happen in all my readings, but sometimes I see a very clear connection between sun, rising, and moon, and I definitely see it this month for you. Let's move from sun to rising. So rising and ascendant, you're already in the energy of change. Sun is more in the sort of like, what do I do? Rising, you know what to do. You're doing it. So the Tower card, often feared, but not always embraced in the way that it should be. The Tower can simply be a move. What I'm going through in my life here and looking for something new is a Tower moment. Interestingly enough, they actually drilled through my ceiling and there were some weird tower-like energies. It doesn't have to be that literal. What it can be is like the final straw on something where you just lose your temper, or it can be restructuring. So like in a company that you're working at, there can be a merger restructuring, or maybe the thing is sold off or something like that. So whatever's happening, the thing that you can do to be more powerful in the Tower is to participate. You don't want to wait for this, the ejection button, to happen and you to be sort of like pushed out of it. You want to be the one that's saying, I think I'm going to leave now. I'm going to do this, or I'm going to speak up. I know that we're going to be changing things. I want to have a say. So for all my rising and ascendant Aquarians out there, you have a voice, loud and clear. Queen of Swords, she came through. Use it. This month, use it more than ever. So in a relationship, if you feel like things are falling apart, never say we need to talk, but just say instead, I have some things. It's so hard to say something different. Just say, I start with where you kind of like have common ground. Just say, I really care about you, and I have some ideas for how we could work on this, or this. Come at it from an angle of like shared and mutual affection, and trying to get at the solution, and then share your ideas. Everything else I gave you examples, like if there is a change of guard happening at work, say, I know there's some changes, I've heard it through the grapevine, I just want to put it out there that I'm interested in this. So if there is a chance for me to change this or this about my job, please have a conversation with me. You should also be looking for another place if that's the case. This is typically a transitional energy, and I seriously doubt that it would last more than a few months. The Tower doesn't stick around. It's just there to push you through. So if you can get ahead of it, you surf. You're a surfer riding the wave. If you wait, it's a wipeout. So surf it, don't wipe out. Okay? Be active, be participating, be aware, know if the wave is too big or if the wave is too small, and decide how much action you want to take. As long as you do that, you'll be all right. A reminder that rising and ascendant is basically the you that you want people to see. So it typically shows up in work, in public activities, sometimes in families, but it's what you're trying to become or trying to project. It's not necessarily who you are. So it's the public persona. And the public persona needs to change this month a bit. So this could be breaking down the layers and the facades so that that breakthrough can happen. So coming out, announcing, getting married, getting divorced, they're all tower moments. They can be good towers, they can be towers that are trickier. But change is the main thing. You need to change something about how people see you. So hopefully it's just you deciding to be more yourself and break down the walls, break down the barriers. All right. Let's move from rising to the moon. The moon is not always something we share with people. It can be hidden talents, hidden desires, hidden fears. It can often come through in relationships because those are the people that know us the best. So there's a little bit of Venus energy here, but it's mostly moon. So some of you have a hard time conveying sadness, disappointment, anger, feelings, basically. So this is basically a chance for you to say what you need to say and not feel bad about it. Some of you may just be really good at nurturing. Maybe you're in a role that does that, like a doctor or a teacher or a mom or a nurse or a therapist. There's so many different roles that help people, even like a fireman, whatever. There's a lot of folks out there that just put themselves second, everyone else first. So all of these cards for the, we'll look at all three in a second, but it's basically saying you have to heal yourself. And it's okay to feel sad. All of these cards have that same message. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to grieve. It's okay to be uncomfortable. Because if we were always at the top of the roller coaster, we wouldn't know the thrill of going down and going back up. So you're possibly at the lower end, but that means that there's nowhere to go but up. And then there's going to be some fun ups and downs that follow. So just let yourself be in this moment and express what you need to express. And everything that I said for the other sun and rising aspects are true for you too. So let's just look at the three together, because I really do feel like there's a nice overarching message for all the different placements of Aquarius. So let me just splay it out this way. Okay. So if we were to take this as a story, the first message is, I know what I don't want. And I don't want to necessarily be around this sort of environment or these sort of people anymore. This card also in traditional Rider-Waite-Smith would show a rising sun. And it's saying that the worst is done, okay? My sort of modern interpretation would be I choose to participate in change, which then leads to the next one. Now I'm going to take the building blocks and reassemble. What I was before didn't work. What I'm becoming and what I want to sort of do next, I can do it much better because I've been through this. And I need to heal. It doesn't happen overnight. Change doesn't happen overnight. Healing doesn't happen overnight. And so I'm going to give myself the time and the space that I need to feel better, to truly mend. Because until that happens, the next big opportunity, the next big love, the next ... won't be as fun as it should be. And the otter's coming through saying there's way too much fun stuff coming through for your sign for that to happen. And all of this may have just been the necessary push that you needed to get out of there. So when I quit my corporate job, it was right after my father had died. And there was just somebody that was cruel to me at work that was the final straw, telling me I wasn't working hard enough. And I'm like, what am I doing here? And why do I care about that sort of energy? And I didn't. And it just gave me the final click where I thought, thank you to that person. I no longer, like at the time, I thought I didn't really think very highly of them. Now I see them as a catalyst. Here in my apartment, same thing is going on where there's one person that's not working with me. And I'm like, all right, you're just the catalyst. The universe usually wants to send us one person or one activity. I don't need any more than like things, plumbing not working, the roof being drilled through, noise. It's made me kind of like change my schedule. I don't need any more. I just need to find the right place now. So sometimes we just need that catalyst. And for me, usually after catalysts of these nature come through, you could count on a change between 3 to 6 months. So that's what I'm giving myself as well for this change. By the end of this season, I hope I'm in a different place. But when it comes to bigger life changes, like when I was changing career path, I gave myself 6 months because I needed to get everything ready. It was more like 7, just to make sure that I was truly, but I made the decision in my head, like, I'm done now. And once I made that decision, everything else was just me deciding how to set up the new thing. So for you, because I'm seeing something that mirrored something that I had been through and something that I'm even going through, and I'm not Aquarius, I'm going to share that lesson with you, is that within a quarter to a half of the year, all of your necessary changes should be underway or should have happened. And especially if you haven't wrapped it up by the end of this year, that's sort of like a gut check. What are you doing? Why are you dragging your feet? These are cards that show that it's not just your imagination, that you have to move forward past something. You can't always fix things. Sometimes you're made to feel uncomfortable so that you can find something so much better on the horizon, okay? Never fear these cards. Pay attention to them. If you're being made uncomfortable, it's for a reason. The universe is not here to punish. It's here to wake you up sometimes, and that's all that's going on, okay? All right. Powerful reading today, very powerful reading for you. We have one extra piece here that we're going to talk about. I always go into a meditation portion, which will take about 1 minute. And then for those of you at the beginning that were asking questions, now's the time right after the meditation that you can do a silent question, and I'll pull a card, and it's just like pick a card, okay? Or like a single card reading, which I do on some of my other social media platforms. So stick around for that, and we'll get to it. Before we do that, if you haven't already done so, I would love it if you could subscribe. It helps. Hit the like button as well. You can only do that once per video, the like, subscribe once in a lifetime, obviously. And social media, you can feel free to join me across all those different platforms if you'd like. If you do give back with a super sticker or super chat, I'll say thank you at the end. But first things first, let's get into the meditation. Let me give you an option to vote on the 2 different instruments that I play during the sound bath. It can either be, give me a second to get the poll together here. It can either be my crystal pyramid or my singing bowl. Okay, so let me just get that set up for you. And let's get started. So today, I feel like I really want to help you heal because a lot of what I was looking at here for you, especially as I looked at sun, rising, and moon, was to kind of like break free and break through, get into that energy of the Stargate. So let me take a drink, and then we're going to focus on the meditation. Okay, close your eyes. Imagine that you are looking down at this small little pond in front of you, and it's a few hours before morning, and so it's still, you can still see the stars above you, and you still have this sort of quiet energy of sort of like evening time. So let's say, actually, let's make it a little closer to dawn. Let's say maybe it's like 10 minutes before dawn or something like that. So there's a stillness in the night. Maybe there's a few birds in the distance or a few crickets or something that you can hear, but otherwise it's quiet. You can hear the sound of your breath. And as you look at the reflection of the stars in the pond in front of you, you can just see the vastness of the universe. Take your hand and run your finger across the water and watch as all of the stars kind of ripple back and forth. And imagine if in your own life you could just kind of like peel away at the facade, pull back the curtains, and see what lies beyond. Imagine that in this sort of pool of opportunities in front of you, you could do just that. As you start to move the water, you actually feel like it is some sort of cosmic curtain that you can pull to the side. And beyond the curtain of the stars, beyond the firmament, you see something more. You see this sort of swirling portal of energy. And if you reach your hand into that pool of energy, something else is reaching out towards you. It's nothing to be afraid of. You realize as you gaze in, it's a future you. So take the hand of this future you and feel, first of all, that somebody's there that really cares about you. And then choose to move through the portal of energy. And in this moment in time, I want multiple things come to mind. It could be sort of like the dance of creation, because I saw that the two of you could sort of be dancing in this sort of beautiful energy where there's stars everywhere, and you could create something beautiful. You could create, using your hands, you could draw something on the sky. You could co-create. We talked about a partnership, so you can imagine that you're pulling in some sort of a divine partnership, but you have someone there to help you dance. You can lead, they can lead. You're not alone. And I want you to dance this dance of creation and sort of decide what is next. What's the next big chapter in your journey? And while you kind of dance among the stars here, I'm going to play the crystal pyramid, and then we'll come back and I'll answer your final question. So as you continue to dance this dance of creation, at one point you take a pause in the dancing and you just kind of embrace this future you. And in that moment, the energy of that future self melts into you so that you contain all of the elements of who you are and also sort of this higher version of yourself, this cosmic you. And you feel love and you feel support and you feel this capacity to continue to create. You don't need the dancing partner there. That partner's always been with you. The higher self has always been there as your muse, but you just got to meet them for a moment, and now they're within, they're in the heart space. Take a moment now, come back to your body, take a few deep breaths, and on your next natural exhale, I want you to open your eyes. And focus on the question that you have for me. For some of you, you were typing the question earlier, so now's the time to think it. Don't type it out yet. Let's just focus on seeing what's coming through. So ask the question silently. And let's see what the answer is. We've got a nice celebratory Three of Cups. So this to me it portends great things. As a yes, no, it's a yes. Unless it's a relationship, and I'll talk about that. But when we're looking at, are you calling in something new? This is a very attractive energy. So Three of Cups tells me that you have a lot of options. Some of you haven't yet decided. So in a relationship sort of reading, the Three of Cups, if you're in a current relationship, is asking about, do you want to commit, or are you, look at them, by the way, the little lily pads that they're dancing on top of. It's asking, do you want to commit, or are you unsure of who you're with? So for some of you, you're kind of looking at that bigger question, is this the right match for me? This job, this person, this opportunity. You have the right to be discerning. This card is usually about making sure that you've seen all the opportunities that are out there. Be sure before you commit, for sure. But if we're not looking sort of in that energy of you're already committed, this is saying that people want to knock on your door and see what's behind this door. What's the opportunity? What's the energy? They want to engage with your thoughts, with your ideas, with you. It's a very collaborative card. So I like it. Most of the energy of the Three of Cups is very, very positive. It's saying, again, people are taking an interest. You get to explore and shop around whatever that kind of like means for you, whether it's shopping around different opportunities or dating or like seeing what's out there. That's basically the main message here, is make sure that you are looking at all options on the table. And then when it does come to those of you that are being asked to make a decision, whether it's a job or a relationship, and someone says, are we exclusive? Are you serious? Are you ready for the next level? You have to be sure of that. And for some of you, there's some soul searching that has to happen to kind of get to that point. But ultimately, I like it. And again, it's a great time to, if you're single and looking, or if you're just hoping like what could happen next, going way back to the beginning, this is a networking card. It is a smaller group sort of networking card. So this is more like close friendships, or again, just sort of like having a few people that you're hanging out with. It's a little more casual. The most casual card when I'm looking at relationships would be the Fool. The Three of Cups is the next level of casual energy. Then you can kind of graduate into Two of Cups or Lovers or Four of Wands, depending. But this is just sort of trying things out, feeling things out. And I think that's in a big part what many of you are asking about. So nothing to be lost by trying something new. And that's basically the message of this card. Okay. Thank you everybody for showing up today. I actually want to take a couple moments to extend some gratitude to everyone that gave back. So let me do that. While I'm pulling up the tab, I just want to say thanks, especially to all of you that have just been longtime viewers, whether you're a member or just a subscriber. I appreciate that. I've been doing this for a while, and I couldn't do it without you. So thank you for allowing me to be here and be a part of your journey. All right, let's begin with members first here. Anybody that just joined or joined within the last 1 day or so. Give me a moment here to welcome those folks in. So we have Tisha, welcome. Good to have you here, brand new member. We have Carol Hale rejoining. Good to have you as well. Let's see, Carisha, I think it is. Thank you. Conscious Candace, David Berg, Donnie Martell, Rennie Rain, and that is everybody that's new from the past few days that I didn't say welcome to at the last reading. So good to have many of you that are brand new, or those of you that have rejoined. Membership, by the way, is completely optional, but it helps me do more videos. And as soon as I get to, I'm pretty close here. As soon as I get to 325,000, I'll do a Q&A, and then I let members ask me some questions. So I've decided to do it on 25s for now, because it takes a while to get to 100K, and I don't want to wait like 4 years or something. So I thought, well, maybe this way we can do it every 6 months and it'll be more fun, or every year is what it's averaging. So I'd like to do that annually. All right, let's go ahead now and say thanks to anybody that gave super stickers or super chats. All right, so for the super stickers today, kicking things off at the very beginning, we have the Amba. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And then Star Bright, RF, Patricia Mayer, Karen Clark, Mermaid Crystal, Palak Oza, I hope I said that correctly, April A, I think, or Aprilia, I don't know, Aprilia, Jeffrey, thank you, Jules in July, CMTM, 2 in a row, thanks so much. And let me see if I missed anyone. I think I got everyone there. Yeah, that's everyone. All right, and then good to have Tisha as a new member too. I see that you joined just at the end. All right, everybody, that was today's reading. I'm going to be doing Pisces tomorrow. Again, construction free. Hopefully it looks like doing it these early hours did help. So yay for that, for the little blessings, right? And let me see here if there's anything else that I want to mention. I think that's it. Just, oh yeah, I'll be doing a Sunday collective. So, every weekend I do a Sunday collective, but I'm also showing up on Monday and I'll be doing a bonus reading. So I'll figure out what makes sense. I'll look and see where we're at with the moon and things of that nature to see what's calling to me. Sometimes I just let those take me down any path that I want to, and I'll pull a lot of different spreads based on the energies that I'm feeling that day. So I may just do that on Monday. And then we'll kick off the next month, starting with Thursday and Friday of next week. Can you believe we're already going into the midpoint of the year almost? Not quite, but we're getting close. It's like this year's going fast. So anyway, thank you everyone. Have a great day, and I'll see you again tomorrow, same time, same place. Lots of love and light to everybody. You have a good one. Bye-bye.